it's Crochet, and in this video I'm going to show you how I crocheted my Jack Skellington cozy. I used a ball of white yarn, and if you're wondering how much yarn I used, I actually don't know because I just used up some white yarn that I found in the bottom of my craft drawer, so I don't know. So anyway, I grabbed some white yarn and a size 5mm hook. I always use the same hook for everything. It's always a 5mm one, unless I say otherwise. Anyway, and then I grabbed the white yarn and I made a slip knot. If you are actually new to crochet and have no idea how to crochet at all, or you need some basics, I actually have a crocheting for beginners video that I will leave in the description box below so you could practice a bit and maybe come back to this. And I do believe that this project is a beginner friendly project, so totally try it out. So after you've created your slip knot, you're going to chain a chain that is about 30 chains long, I believe. But it totally depends on what you're making the cozy for. If you're going to make it for a big mug, you're going to need more chains. If you're going to make it for a normal sized, like Starbucks coffee mug, then it's probably going to be more on the 30 chain side. Or if you're going to make it for a tiny cup / mug, then you're going to need less chains. So it's totally up to the cup that you're making the cozy for. And an easy way to figure out how many chains you need is just to grab the cup and make as many chains as you need for both ends of the chain to touch when you wrap it around, but make sure that they're just touching barely because you don't want them to overlap, because if you chain too many chains, then your cozy is going to be too big in the end and it's just going to keep falling off of your cup, and that's not good. So yeah. And after you've completed your chain, then you're going to go back on that chain using a single crochet, which is really easy. It's just sticking your hook through the chain, wrapping your yarn around your hook, bringing your hook back through the chain, then wrapping your yarn around the hook again, and then bringing your hook through the last 2 loops that are on top of your hook. See right here, and there you go. See, that's it. And if you're not familiar with single crochet, then again, just watch my Crocheting for Beginners video and it will go through it step by step and in a much slower fashion, so it's easier to follow. But for everyone who already knows what single crochet is, you really don't need to watch me do the whole thing of single crochet, so I'm just going to skip to the end. So once I finished the end of that first row, I chained 1, then flipped it over, and then just continued making more single crochets in the single crochets of the previous row. And I actually should have done something else right now, but I forgot, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So I just completed another row, I think another 2 rows of single crochet, and then I did a very important step, which I will cut to right now. So instead of doing this many rows of single crochet, what I should have done was just make 1 and then do this step, which was bring the 2 ends together and combine them using a slip stitch. You just go along the side right here and create slip stitches through both sides so that they are together. It's kind of like you're sewing them, but with crocheting. So it would have been easier if I only had like 1 or 2 rows of single crochet, and it would have actually looked nicer too, but oh well, I totally forgot to do it before. So I have 4 rows of single crochet, which again doesn't look that bad, but I would suggest if you're doing this project to do this step when you only have 1 or 2 rows of single crochet. I think it looks better like that. So after you've attached the ends, it should look something like this. Yay, starting to look like a cozy, right? And then you're just going to, guess what? Do something super complicated. I'm just kidding. You're actually going to just continue doing single crochets all around the cozy, all around the cozy. Yeah, and that's it. You just have to keep on going around and around until you're satisfied with the height of it. Every so often, once you get closer to what you think is the right size, then grab your cup and try it on and see if you like the size, and just keep crocheting again around and around and around and around until you like the size. You try it on and it looks fabulous, and that's it. So after a number of rows of single crochet, I don't know exactly how many, I never keep track and never count them, I got this beautiful cozy right here. And if you are interested in just making a regular cozy, that's all you have to do to make a cozy. You can get a really cool color and just make a regular plain cozy. But today we are making a Jack Skellington cozy, so we have to do something a little more complicated, but it's still kind of easy. So after you have tied the last loop of, from the project, cut the yarn and then you bring the yarn through the last loop and you pull it, then it's on to this step. This is why I didn't want so many rows of single crochet before I tie them together, because then it looks nasty. But if you listen to my advice and you combine the two ends earlier, it'll be seamless and you won't really be able to see that. So anyway, flip the project inside out, grab some black yarn, create a slip knot, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, then you're going to go back into that very first chain and create a single crochet, and then go into that very first chain again and create another single crochet, and I think one more or two more, let me see what I do, and that was 3. So create 4 inside that very same stitch, and then you have like a little ball right here. Now you're going to start making single crochets on top of the single crochets that you made, but if you don't start making 2 single crochets inside each of the single crochets, then your little circle is going to start to curve and you don't want that. So always make sure that you put 2 single crochets inside of the previous rows of single crochets and you'll have a circle. I know it's really hard to see because it's black yarn, but hopefully my explanation is good. Okay, so this is my first eyeball for Jack Skellington. And he has more like oval eyes, I guess, so I kind of just stretched it out a little bit just to make it look more like his eyes. And after that, I'm just going to seal that off like I previously explained, and then make a second eye the exact same way. And after that, I'm going to attach them, which is also very hard to show on the video and kind of difficult to explain if you're not familiar with sewing or have any idea. I guess, is this considered embroidery? I don't know. But basically what I do is I grab a piece of yarn and then I stick my hook through the back of the project and then through the thing I want to attach, which is Jack's eye. And then how do I explain it? I can't even explain it. So I stick my hook through the back of the project, through Jack's eye, to grab the yarn with my hook. And then I pull the yarn through both of the things to the back, making sure that the rest of the yarn from the other side is not going through as well. It has to stay in the front. Well, this is in the back. Yes? Following me? Hopefully. Okay. And I want to make sure that I'm holding Jack's eye in the position where I want it to be, because this might move around and then I'll end up having attached an eye where I don't want it to be attached. So it's a lot of trial and error. It takes up some time, well, at least for me, because I don't necessarily know exactly how to do it. I just kind of figured it out on my own. So I'm just going back and forth. Whenever the yarn is in the front, I put my hook through the back to pull the yarn through to the back, and then once the yarn is in the back, then I pull or push my hook through the front and grab the yarn and then pull it to the back. Oh wait, no, dang it, I messed up. When the yarn is in the back, I pull the hook through the front. That way I can bring the yarn to the front, and then I do the opposite and bring the yarn to the back like I just did right now. And now since the yarn is in the back, I'm going to put my hook through the front of Jack's eye eventually, when I figure this out. Do it. Do it. Okay, I'm just making sure that it's in the right position. So since the yarn is in the back, I'm going to go through the front here and then grab the yarn with my hook, bring it to the front. Yes. And make sure that Jack's eye is in the right position because it keeps moving around. And then since the yarn is in the front, I'm going to stick my hook through the back right here and then through Jack's eye, and then wrap my yarn around it and then bring the yarn to the back. Yay! It takes a lot of little steps because if you make very few big steps, you're definitely going to see the yarn in the way, and you don't want that. You kind of want it to be seamless. So when you make little steps, probably 2 or 3 stitches between each other, then it's more seamless. You can't really see the stitches, I guess. And this is going to be the final stitch. So I'm going to stick my hook through the back of the project and then bring it to the front, grab the yarn and bring the yarn to the back, and then I'm going to go to the back and finally tie the yarn together into a knot. That way it can secure Jack's eyeball. And I'm going to do that same painful step all over again for the second eye. Yay, how fun. But not nearly as fun as making the smiley face. Jack Skellington's iconic smiley face. And that's what we're going to do right after we make the nose. And the nose is actually one of the easiest things to do here because it's basically doing the same thing. You're just pulling the yarn through the front, then through the back, and through the front, through the back. Just 4 times to make the nose. Yay! That's one side. And then you're going to do the same thing to the other side. That's easy. Jack Skellington's nose is pretty easy. It's just 2 lines. Yay! And then after you make those 2 lines, you're just going to tie the yarn in the back to secure his nose. You just turn it inside out. Make sure the yarn is long enough to tie a knot. And then just tie a quick knot. So almost the same way we did the nose, we're going to do the mouth, but in a much more painstaking way. Okay, it's not that bad. I'm being a little bit dramatic, but it does take a little while, and that's why this video is so long. So what you're going to do is mentally draw out Jack Skellington's smile. Now he has a really big smile. He has his smile from pretty much the middle of his eyes all the way down and then through to the other side of his eyes, or yeah, that high. And not only does he have a smile, but he has these crevices in his smile, and it's gonna be fun. So make sure that you have marked out where you want his smile to begin. You could either add an actual physical marker there, or you could just do everything with your imagination like I do. I just kind of mentally mark things. So all you're going to do is embroider the heck out of this cozy by sticking your hook through one stitch on one side, through the other, and then the opposite. And you know, I'm really not doing a great job at voicing this over because it's hard for me to explain this. So please just tune me out and watch what I do. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. That way it's not too boring. But I'm just going to let you do some visual learning instead of audio learning. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I feel like I have to say something. I feel like I have to be here, but if I'm getting annoying, just go ahead and mute me. But I'm still going to stay here. So now I'm going to make the little stitch. So I made 2 little stitches for his mouth, but now I'm going to make I called it a stitch. It's not a stitch. It's a crevice. He's not Sally. He doesn't have stitches. He has crevices because he's a skull. So that's his first little crevice. So one line is going to be for a smile, and then you're going to go back, and in between the 2 lines that you make, you're going to make a crevice. So okay, mentally I'm drawing out where I'm going to put the next stitch. So right here. Again, keep everything 2 to 3 stitches apart from each other. You don't want to make the stitches too big. Otherwise it doesn't look as nice. So I'm going to pull the yarn through eventually. It kind of gets confusing when you leave a bunch of yarn in the back, which I should have cut, but I just cut it in the end, so whatever. So I made another line, and it's a little uneven, but I cover that by making a little crevice, like I showed you before. And when you make these little crevices, I would suggest that you make them all in different sizes. This varies varying in size because it makes it cuter, and I think that's how he has it though, but I actually don't remember. No, I think he does have it all uneven. I mean, if our teeth are uneven, he's a skull, so it would make sense. Yeah. So yeah, just make them all uneven. Create your smiley face by mapping out his smile, and then in between two of the lines that you make for his smile, you're going to cover up that inconsistency with some crevices. Yay! And again, he has a really big smile, so he has to be all the way up here. I mean, his smile has to be all the way up there. And I think this is the last one or the second to last one, finally. See the little gap in between the two lines? Just going to make a little crevice there to cover it. Yay! And I think I need one more. Yep, to make it even. Stick my hook through the front to grab the yarn in the back. And then stick it through the back to grab the yarn in the front to bring it to the back. And then make your very last little crevice. And you're done! Yay! Woohoo! All you have to do now is flip it inside out, make a knot with the yarn that you're using, and then cut off all the excess yarn, because that certainly gets in the way when you're trying to put the cozy on the mug, and it's also not very pretty. I mean, it's not very pretty if you just flip it inside out anyway, because you have all these random pieces of yarn sticking out, but it's nicer when they're not as long, and again, they don't get in the way. So after you're done with that, just flip it right side in. I believe that's what it is. Flip it right side in, and you have an adorable Jack Skellington cozy. Ah! And then grab your mug and dress it up with this Jack Skellington cozy. Yay! Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up and also click the red subscribe button if you have not already, so I can see you next time. Bye!